Hi, Kareem.
Can you share just a little bit of the overall philosophy going into tonight? I don't know if there were certain traits you were looking for in any players. I don't know how much position became, how much it influenced any decisions, just kind of how you wanted to approach this whole thing.
Yeah, I think the strategy was to make us better now and to make us better later. And so we went into a draft where we felt like there were some incredibly competitive players. I think we were looking for that kind of competitive core in the folks that we were targeting. I think the other quality that I would say, and I think you'll see this right away out of everybody that we picked, is just a kind of explosiveness and a speed on the court. I think as Coach Johnson has shared previously, we're looking to play a very quick game, and I think we've got some folks that can help us run, and I think they complement our existing core incredibly.
Jade. Hey, how you doing? Jade Lawson with 7 News.
Hi, Jade.
Well, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Congrats
you.
on the draft night.
Thank
Two
you.
questions for you, and then I'll pass it on. The first question is, you guys had a lot of draft picks coming in. How do you plan on continuing to develop this kind of a lot of these rookies that are coming into the Mystics team? And then second of all, question is, I think I spotted Elena Deladon in the war room tonight. What was that like? Just kind of having her as a guide as you guys entered this draft year.
Oh, I mean, it's amazing to get a champion in the room, and we had her calling our picks in to the league. I think she's just a wonderful presence, and we're just thrilled to have her alongside us tonight. So that, the question about development, like, it's precisely what we want to do. I think we've got players coming out who have a really, really long future ahead of them. I think we're really excited to help them get, to that next competitive level. It's not easy to be a rookie in the WNBA. We know that, and so I think they will depend a lot on each other. I think they'll depend a lot on our existing core. Look, Coach Johnson just brought in a really amazing coaching staff, and I know one of the things that he focused on was bringing in people who had a history and a particular acumen and capacity for development, and so that's part of our plan. And so our hope is to bring in these players and give them that opportunity on the court, and we're really excited to see what they do.
Hi, good to see you again, Jen.
Nice to see you.
I got two for you, if I may. Just first of all, what was it kind of like in your war room having 3 picks in the span of 4, like making decisions that quickly, and you kind of being the first time doing this? So can you kind of take us behind the scenes and how that felt for you there?
Yeah, it's months of preparation that come down to, I think, probably about 14 minutes on the clock, and I would just say not preparation by myself alone, but it's a quintessential example of teamwork. We had a lot of folks in the room who contributed to the effort, and as I said, that started months ago, long hours, long days, and so it was the culmination of all of that. I think what we saw was the ability to execute in just 12 minutes was a reflection of the kind of preparation that we had. So it's a fantastic energy. It's game night jitters, and then getting out on the court and making decisions. But most importantly, it represents the work you put in before.
And then just as a follow-up, did you ever consider trading any of the first round picks, or was it always that you wanted to keep those 3 and kind of move them along in your organization together?
Yeah, I mean, it's a long process, and so I think as we went along, we wanted to keep our eyes wide open for opportunity. Of course, our goal is to help our team get better, and that can happen through drafting players, that can happen through trading the picks, and so we wanted to understand what the opportunities were that were out there and compare those against our goals and make decisions based from there.
Jamila, now that the first official draft for you is complete, how are you feeling now that you've been in the process, have gone through the process, had your picks, and you can prepare yourselves for training camp?
It's a great question in this moment, to be perfectly honest. I'm excited, I'm elated. I can't wait to meet the people that we drafted, honestly. We've had the chance to talk to them tonight, and they're thrilled, their families are thrilled. it's such a special moment, and as excited as I am to get to the next, I also want to just pause and have the opportunity to pause with them to take this moment in. I look forward to hearing what they hope for in their next steps. But you're right that the season is coming very, very quickly, and so we'll be pivoting very quickly into training camp very soon, and our attention will turn to that, and we're just really ready to go.
Jamila, congratulations on tonight. I know you just drafted these players, but in terms of your scope and your overall path that you want to lay forward for this franchise, how much did you accomplish what you guys wanted to accomplish heading into the night and setting the table for what's to come this year, the next, so on and so forth?
Yeah, I think we're incredibly excited about the players that we brought in. I think we feel like we have, in the energy that's coming in, just a lot of motor, a lot of people that are going to be able to set a quick pace to the game. We brought in really, really smart players, and I think, their ability to process the game, the way that's going to show up and the way that's going to show up to fans. Seeing a lot of ball movement, seeing players play off of one another, a lot of space on the floor. So I think it's going to be an incredibly dynamic style of play.
Hi, Jamila, Karita Parks, Double Take Sports.
I agree.
Hi. You talked about it just a little bit when you mentioned the fans, but just when you think about the draft picks tonight collectively, what do you think the fans have to look forward to?
Yeah, I think there's going to be just really an explosive dynamism to this group. We've got in each of them, just like I said, just a real motor. I think they walk in the door and you can just feel their energy instantly. We saw that with Kiki when she was at Stanford, saw it at USC. Obviously in Georgia Amore, wherever she goes, she's just a bundle of energy and just manages to pick the level of the game up wherever she is. And I think Sonia Citron just does everything and is happy to do everything, quietly. We think she's pretty loud in the way that she moves, and the versatility and the range in her game is really exciting.
Yeah, Jamila, the trade that you guys made, getting a first rounder next year for Carly, how did that come together? And was that something you guys had sort of been trying to do, add a pick for next year?
Yeah, I think the trade really just represents another move that's an investment in our future and an investment in bringing in young players to develop. Carly, in a short time with this franchise, just contributed a ton. I think everywhere that she was, on the court, in the community, in the locker room. So we're incredibly grateful for the imprint that she left. I also think we're really excited to watch her contribute to a great team there in Minnesota. I think she has a chance to go and be in some great games and be in an incredibly competitive atmosphere. So we're just happy that we were in a position to give her an opportunity here, and certainly we'll continue rooting for her. And I think for us, like I said, it's another step towards bringing in more talent.
Hi, I'm Martin Jackson with XB Nation. How did Olivia Miles ultimately decide to stay in school and transfer affect you guys' draft strategy?
Yeah, look, I think, not just Olivia Miles, right, but this draft, and certainly I think drafts to come, there's always a question around who's going to be in and who's going to be out, and that's just simply part of the game, if you will. So a number of athletes who could have chosen to come into this draft based on their age or other, the eligibility, chose not to, some chose to, and so, all of us are all the time trying to figure that out and make the best decisions possible, but the reality is there's a tremendous amount of talent to go around, and so with Miles in or out or other players in or out, we thought that this year's class just had some depth to it and a lot of players who deserved to look.
Last question to Crane.
Probably a good problem to have between Shakira, Aaliyah, Kiki. It's a lot of bigs that aren't necessarily similar, but kind of positional wise. So, if that's a word. How do you kind of envision those three kind of being able to play together, or how you guys will use them just you know, just from a pure position size kind of standpoint?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, fortunately for us, those three players are also incredibly versatile. So their skill set allows them to move outside. Their skill set allows them to, you know, create some space and actually move in transition. They complement one another really well. So I anticipate, you know, to your point, we've got some great mid-range game. Obviously, Leah, you know, can take the ball further out. You've got, you know, Inkira, somebody that can break down defenses from the perimeter. And so I think, you know, our hope is that for each of them, that their range of skills is going to be showcased.